My 32M wife, 40F's daughter suddenly called me dad and I don't know how to react. I, 32M, have been married with Rose, 40F, for 4 years and we dated for 2 before that. Rose has a daughter, Lola, she is 9. Her father, John, 42M, is quite present in her life and is a good dad. He lives 2 hours away due to his work but he spend a lot of time with her during the weekends, holidays, they video chat a lot, he comes to all her school plays, sport events etc. etc. When I started dating Rose, I didn't know what my relationship with Lola would be. I have had both a stepmother and a stepfather so I know these kind of relationships can get bad easily, so I tried to do my best. I played with her, listened to her whenever she wanted to talk, helped if she needed help and I didn't set any rule but made sure she followed Rose's rules. In the past 6 years, we bonded. Something happened yesterday, she aced a math test, the only full score in the whole class. Am I allowed to be proud of her? I will be anyway. I wanted to reward her and she wanted an ice cream, so we went to the ice cream shop. When I gave her the ice cream, she said thank you, Dad and rushed back in the car. I was stunned. I didn't know how to react. She never called me Dad, she normally called me by my name or nickname. She seemed to not realize she had done it so I acted normally and brought her back home and we celebrated with Rose. I don't know what I should do if she calls me Dad again. I'm happy about it, don't misunderstand me. I love her as if she was my own daughter but she already has a father and they love each other a lot and I think he wouldn't like hearing her call someone else Dad. Should I tell her something? What? TLDR, my stepdaughter suddenly called me Dad and I don't know how I should react. Move on to the comment. Clearly you've earned the title. Don't overthink it. Just continue being bonus dad. I agree he earned it, but he needs to talk with his wife and discover how the wife and the girl's father feel about the situation. Things like this, no matter how touching, can get very messy. Exactly. Plus if dad just slipped out rather than an intention, she might not have realized it herself. Good to discuss this now. I agree that at least tell your wife about it. She would decide what to do with it. Yes, they should discuss it, but all their feelings take a backseat. It's about how the kid feels first. She can have 2 dads. If only we could all be so lucky to have 2 dads we have a good relationship with. I'm Lola, or was. I grew up with active and present dad, but also an awesome stepdad who I love. I started calling my stepdad Dad too, probably around the same age, and now even as an adult I just have 2 dads. Not going to lie, my bio dad didn't love it for a while, but I think at the end of the day he's just glad I have a stepdad who loves me and that treats me well. So, if she wants to have 2 dads, cool. It's a compliment. And hey, double the love for a super lucky little girl. Girl sounds lucky to have 2 dads who care about her. One never has enough caring dads, right? Take it as a flower. And live up to it. Don't address this with anyone. It may just have been a slip of the tongue. I agree with you, it could just have been a slip of the tongue. If it starts happening regularly, then that would be the time to mention it to Rose. I'm wondering if she calls her own father dad or daddy, therein could lie the difference. I am not sure. If that became a habit, I would ask my partner first to understand if the latter sees anything in that. Depending on the answer, I would ask the child together with my partner. And maybe the father. It may be an expression of sympathy, which I would avoid making a big deal of. Fancy being subjected to Spanish Inquisition for innocently calling somebody dad, who actually does about all the service to you your bio dad does. I think you should bring it up to your wife first and get her input. My BIL has a bio dad and technically a stepdad. He has always called his stepdad dad since I've known them, 2007. He has known him since he was about 6 years old. He also calls his bio dad, Dad. It's not a bad thing she said it, she sees you as a father figure and relates to you as such. It happens on accident sometimes. I've called a teacher mom before. If it becomes a thing, talk to your wife and her ex and see how to move forwards. He may be cool with it or he may ask you to stop it. What you don't want to happen is him be blindsided by this and suddenly a great co-parenting relationship is destroyed. Almost said I love you to my manager after we were done with a work call. Like a fraction of a second away from saying it before I caught myself. That'd have been a weird one. I did this LOL. Was on the phone first with husband at the time, then immediately after was on a call with my team RN. In home health we were paired up, one RN and one LPN. When I finished talking I told her I loved her and hung up LOL. Immediately called back to say no, I don't love you. I love you but I don't, OMG this is just getting worse LOL. I just finished talking to my husband and then you, just have it. She laughed the entire time and ended our conversation with I don't love you but I love you. Don't communicate the vibe that her calling you dad embarrasses you, you'll never hear it again. The way I heard it, seems you've passed a test. Congratulations. Accept your honor with grace. Please don't respond to it when it happens. It will crush her in that moment. And obviously talk to her mother about this first. And find out how her mother wants you to handle it. It may be that her mother agrees with you that it's probably best for her to only call her father dad, and if so, it may be best for her mom to have that discussion with her. It may be that it came out by accident, and she may have felt extremely embarrassed. Or she may not even have noticed. If it doesn't happen again, I wouldn't say anything. Also, if you have a good relationship with her father, you might want to call him and discuss. His feelings could be impacted too. When I was a kid I called my stepfather dad and he wanted to steer away from it because my parents co-parented well and he didn't want to step on my dad's ties. I understood when my mom and stepdad explained that he was a parent but not my dad. You don't have to react at all, she sees you as her dad, you're literally her stepdad. At some point you should tell her how happy it makes you that she trusts and cares for you enough to offer the title. And pat yourself on the back for being a good step-parent. It only took about 6 months or so for me, but my stepson, 6 at the time, was picking on me and Hub said hey, you better stop messin' with my wife. And that little Dennis the Menace apprentice said I can mess with her if I want, she's my mom. ID'M near burst into tears on the spot. It's a moment you don't forget. 3 years later, he still calls me by my nickname for the most part, but if he's talking about me to others, that's my mom. He's very close with his bio mom of course, and even she'll refer to me as his other mom. So you don't tell her anything. You simply love her and you be her dad. She can have as many as she wants. Her father is lucky she has you there for her when he can't be. I wouldn't make a big deal out of it with your stepdaughter even though you're rightfully cheering on the inside. I think this is something you should discuss with your wife though when it comes to how her bio dad might react. It might have been an accident, it might have been intentional, but either way it sounds like a compliment. Considering her dad is present and a good father, maybe she wants a way to show you your elevated status in her life. Maybe that's a change of name to more of an affectionate name if she usually calls you by your first name. Maybe that's next to come. Either way, take it as the gift it is. Don't react unless she says this in front of her bio dad and he is offended by it. By correcting her, you may make her self-conscious. My dude. My wife's daughter was 18 when we got married, and even though her real dad is in her life, she comes to me with issues and just to talk. I always try to help her and be there when she needs me. She now calls me dad as well. Be happy, Lola has decided you are worthy of the title. I get that you're touched and worried about how her main dad is going to feel. Maybe it was a one-off accident and she was excited but also super comfortable with you and it slipped out. If it happens again you could try something like, I love that I get to be one of your two dads. So we can make sure there's no confusion between me dad up, your name, and your dad, whatever his name is. Let's come up with a special dad nickname for me. Then you guys can brainstorm on something better than stepdad. XT dad for extra dad, or whatever. This might come off as mean, and it's certainly not meant to. But it seems as if you care a little more about her father's feelings on the matter than hers. I have a very strained relationship with my stepdad because that door was always closed. Everyone always made it very clear that that wasn't my dad, even though my bio dad was never involved, so I definitely don't think you should discourage her. If she feels comfortable with it, I think you should go with it. If it's an accident, I don't think you should call it out. All I'm saying is I've been on the other side of this. My stepdad refers to me as his daughter to his co-workers. I refer to him as my dad to casual acquaintances/strangers, but it's always been off limits to speak like that in the house, if that makes sense, and it definitely creates a weirdness. Just continue to love her and let her guide the next steps. If it was an accident, just keep it cool. If it becomes a consistent thing, let your heart be all warm and fuzzy and be proud that you leveled up on the blended family. Be proud of her unabashedly. You're a major part of her village and she honored that. You have loved her well, expecting nothing in return. I'll advise getting on the step-parent subreddit just so we can validate you. Be thankful. There was a post earlier today from a guy who was hurt because his stepkids refused to see him as family, not even as a dad, even though he had by his account cared for them, funded their existence more or less, and been there for them. So yeah. Just enjoy it and tell her you love her. My kids call my ex-husband's girlfriend and my fiancé by a mixture of stepmom/mom, stepdad/dad and their names often. Just whatever pops out we go with. It's not a big deal over here either way, but I know my fiancé loves it when they call him dad. I'm sure my ex's partner feels similarly. ETA, as a bio mom I don't take any offense to my kids calling my ex's partner mom. If they see her as a mom and they want to call her that, then that's their prerogative. My oldest sister, she has a different mom, was recently telling me about when she started calling my mom, Mom. She talked with her more about it and asked if it'd be alright, and my parents got together when she was about 2, and her mom was all of course, and I'm surprised you haven't been calling her mom yet already, lol. I thought that was sweet. As a stepdad, I say you accept your role and name. It means she trusts you now as a parent. Work hard to foster and keep doing what you're doing. I am also a step-parent. I met her kids when they were both teens and now they are 22 and 16. Neither one of them called me dad, but I always left the door open for them to talk to me as they head into adulthood. My sister and I have different dads, and our mother has been married to mine for over 30 years. My sister's dad was in her life, and she calls him dad, but she also calls my dad dad as well. She's just lucky to have 2 dads. Her choice to call our dad dad was hers alone. If you like being called dad by her, let her lead the way. She may switch between dad and your name, she may favor one name over another, but she's old enough to know what she's comfortable with. First off, congratulations, the kid loves you and feels safe enough to grant you that title. That is a major achievement. That said, first talk to your wife. Privately. Tell her what happened and how it made you feel, then ask her what she thinks you should do. Then as a couple set up a time to privately talk to the bio dad and do the same. It's important to have a united front and get everyone on the same page here. You say this man is a good dad. Do you and your wife have a good working relationship with him? If you do, sitting him down and explaining it to him in a similar way you would with your wife, while also letting him know that you aren't out to replace anyone and that you think he's a great father. If at that point he or your wife is uncomfortable with you being called dad, then a family meeting with all parental figures and your daughter will need to be had. At this point her feelings need to be heard and then you all can discuss a compromise together so she feels safe and that whatever title you get is something everyone can be on board with. She just needs to feels really safe and unjudged. If she does it on her own, she means it. That's so sweet op, good job, whatever you're doing, you are doing it right. I would talk with Rose and let her know. She'll know what to do, or at least, she'll help you navigate this. Ugh. So sweet, I just can't. More of this please. I am a female middle school teacher. My students will sometimes accidentally call me mom. This may have been one of those kind of times. I would not react, and if it happens again, stay casual. What does she call her father? For example, my husband is Billy and my stepfather is Bill. If she calls him daddy and you dad, take it as a compliment. I think it's a sign that she recognizes that you care and that you love her. If it becomes a thing she does regularly, perhaps have a conversation about how lucky she is to have a dad already, but that you'd love and feel very lucky if she picked a special name for you that only she gets to you, Papa, Pops, etc. This is mainly for the sake of her dad, who clearly cares and is involved. She's only 9, so you have been effectively filling a dad role in her life for most of her aware life. It's good that her bio dad and her have a great relationship and you are all comfortable in it. Dad is more than just being her parent, it's how you influence her in all your actions and what she sees and feels towards you, and she obviously feels that you are dad as well. I'd actually mention it to your wife and see what she thinks. I don't think it will be such a big deal if she occasionally uses it, or if she's comfortable using it all the time if she wants. Sometimes for kids, it must be hard to have to call the person who lives with your dad or mom by their first name when you consider them more important than that. I'd say that possibly she has referred to you that way accidentally to her mom and it's not a big deal. I'd say it must feel great though to be that highly thought of. Must feel great though to be that highly thought of. Must feel great though to be that highly thought